Have you got a stress in your life that is consuming your mind? Well, I'm going to share a story with you about an interaction I had with a friend of mine last weekend where we helped him remove 8 hours of stress from his life. If you're stressed, you want to make sure you watch this video. So last weekend I was catching up with a friend, and as I was catching up with him, we started talking about finances, and he was telling me about how he was really stressed about the finances in his life, and it was kind of consuming him in a really unhealthy way. And as I was talking to him, I kind of chucked the question at him, which was, how much time do you think you spend thinking about finances in a stressful way in your life? And he kind of thought for a second. He said, Bev, I reckon I probably spend about 8 hours a week stressing about money. Now, this is a really interesting thing, because you think about it a week, basically each day you're sleeping around about 8 hours. So he's spending half a day a week, each week, thinking about this money situation. So it's quite a consuming thing. And the thing about this as well is that stress isn't just the thing you're thinking about. After stress, you feel fatigued, so you're often weaker after stress as well. So the cost on this guy's life was pretty huge. But what was really interesting is we got deeper into the conversation. This guy was actually in a really good money situation. Like, basically he was close to retirement age. He had built a good asset base in his life. He was basically in a really good position to have a really good retirement. Basically, at the end of the day, he didn't need to be stressing. So why was he stressing? Because if you looked at a situation from the outside and you had a basic understanding around finances, you'd say, you know what, this guy's actually got a pretty good life, actually got a pretty great life as he moves into retirement. But the reason he was stressing is he couldn't see the future in front of him. He was stressed because what he saw in front of him was murky waters and confusion. So when he looked to his future, he just felt a sense of stress because it was just confusing and a bit murky. He didn't see the clear picture that maybe an outsider could see. So as I'm talking to him, I kind of was having a chat to him. One thing I know about this guy is one of his friends is one of New Zealand's top financial content creators. Like, this guy, he's a good friend of a guy who's basically a household name in New Zealand around finances. And this is one of my friend's best friends. And I said to him, have you ever talking to your mate around finances? And he goes, oh, I've never really thought about it. And I said to him, well, you know what? This guy's a guru. And if he looked at your situation based on what I told you, first of all, he'd be able to make a good plan for you, and he'd be able to give you clarity. And to be honest, my friend's the kind of guy who would apply tools. If you applied it, you'd probably be on top of this problem, probably with about 4 hours to 5 hours of work. So with around 4 to 5 hours of work, you could remove 8 hours of stress that you sit in each week of your life. And this is one of the biggest problems that we often see with stress. There's different types of stress, but one of the stresses we have is an uncertain future. I can't see the future in front of me, so I worry about what that looks like. And unfortunately for a lot of people, when they think about that future, they tend to catastrophize and see the worst version of that future. So no wonder you are stressed if you look to the future and all you see is dark clouds in front of you with a thunderstorm coming down on you. Now, what do we do for my friend? Well, the first step we did is we identified that his stress was owning too much of his life. Like, 8 hours a week on this, it's just too much of your life. It was too high a cost for him along the way. Second thing we did is we established the best way for him to put a plan in place that helped give him clarity moving forward. So he needed to go see his friend who was a guru. He needed to put the situation in front of his friend, and his friend would develop a plan for him that would help him see that his future is fine, he's actually in a good position, and he can make the type of decisions that he wants to move forward and can see that clear future. And then the third step he'd want to do is to actually act upon the advice of his friend. Now, the great thing about my friend is he's got that resource of that person beside him, and he is the kind of guy who would apply the lessons or the plan that would be given to him. So basically, through this conversation, and probably through about 3 or 4 hours of work, he's removing 8 hours of stress from his life. So if you're the person who's stressing about something in the future because it's dark and it's moody and it's the storm clouds are in front of you, are you a bit like my friend? Is it just because you haven't spent the time identifying the cost of the stress, as in how much time you're spending on it, but you haven't actually sat down and go, how do I develop a plan, and how do I put a plan in front of me that lets me see that I can progress in this area and sees the future in a clear way which doesn't put stress in front of me? Ideally, you probably want to get people around you, mentors, or people who can guide you through those steps. But then the last step in the process would be to actually apply the plan that they put in place. I'm not guaranteeing you're going to remove stress from your life, but this is a really great strategy that can reduce the time in stress and has a high chance of removing stress from your life. So again, what is it? Catch the cost of your stress. B, find a plan that seems achievable, but also creates a clear future for you. And then number 3, do the work of that plan. You'll see your stress reduce, maybe even disappear, which means you'll be in a much healthier place for yourself.